Lancaster County, Pennsylvania, is a living American monument to the pioneers who transformed it from a quiet spot in Penn's woods to the garden spot of America. Today, it combines the best of the old with the best of the new, rich in heritage, a treasure land of farming, industry, and good living unique in the United States. Horse and wagon are part of the Lancaster County heritage. First winds of spring bring a stirring to agricultural action. Farmers are busy, preparing for the crops ahead. Steam has a place in farming, as you can see in this unusual spectacle. These farmers are steaming tobacco seed beds where plants are grown, then transplanted into the fields. Use of the steam makes certain that the earth in which the tiny tobacco seeds start growing is absolutely sterile. Lancaster County is a leading producer of cigar tobacco. It is the richest non-irrigated farm county in the nation. On the beautiful rolling land of this highly cultivated county, farms have been tilled for over 250 years. In some cases, today's farmers are 6th and 7th generation members of families that were granted land by the Penns. From 1709 onward, the fertile soil has been worked each year by men and horses. Travel any road in bountiful Lancaster County, and you will see farmers busy in the springtime. Down one road, you will see the most modern machinery in use. Down another, you will see horses and men in scenes reminiscent of the 18th century. Here, tobacco beds are being covered to protect the seedlings from cold and heavy rain. Flowers brighten every corner in springtime. The county is aglow with color. You're really odd if you don't have a garden in America's garden spot. Lancaster County girls grow beautiful too. Warm, bright June brings a ceremony that carries out a famous heritage, one red rose forever. It started with Henry William Steagle, who liked to be called Baron Steagle, maker of some of the finest glass blown in America during the middle 1700s. Steagle glass is world famous for its purity and its bell-like resonance, which produces a rich, clear tone for 10 or more seconds. In 1772, Baron Steagle gave land to Zion Lutheran Church in Mannheim, the town which he founded. The ground rent, he said in the deed, should be 1 red rose in the month of June, if the same shall be lawfully demanded. For years, the proviso was forgotten. But in 1892, the annual custom of a festival of roses was started. And now, each year, on the 2nd day in June, one of William Steagle's descendants is paid the ground rent. 1 red rose forever. In another part of Lancaster County is one of America's most famous museums, the Pennsylvania Farm Museum at Landis Valley, a must for every visitor. Here you can see over 250,000 mementos of the early American way of life. Implements, folk art, tools, furniture, and other treasures of our rich heritage. The annual Craft Days celebration at Landis Valley draws thousands of delighted visitors. Demonstrations bring all the old-time crafts to life. Steam tractors, fired up, haul wagon loads of happy children through the nearby fields. Lace making was great-grandmother's specialty. Sparks fly as the blacksmith plies his trade at the anvil. Woodcarving, a craft centuries old, is demonstrated. Doormats are fashioned from corn husks. Candles are dipped in the pioneer way. An old foot-powered lathe is used to turn out rolling pins. Quilts are sewn by hand with thousands of tiny stitches. The famous Conestoga Wagons were at one time the nation's major form of transportation for pioneers expanding our frontiers. These sturdy wagons originated in historic Lancaster County near the Conestoga River about 1716. The wagon, built of oak with wide wheels, had a body high enough to go safely over shallow streams. It carried up to 6 tons and was usually drawn by 6 horses, their bells making steady music as they stepped along. A part of the Lancaster County heritage, the Conestoga Wagons, in their 150 years of service, helped to build our country. Today, at Landis Valley Museum, an original wagon still rolls, giving rides to thousands of visitors. The Lancaster Fencibles, dressed in Civil War garb, reenact battles that made history a century ago. Historic pageants and modern plays are part of the dramatic heritage of Lancaster County. But pageantry is only a small part of the charm of this county. You'll find pleasure in feeling the pulse of daily living in every season. The friendly plain folk, busy from dawn to dusk on their fertile farms, will pause for a pleasant chat with friends or visitors. This farmer and his 2 sons use a team of mules to run a modern hay baler. Every highway affords a scene of beauty and interest in historic Lancaster County. The romantic and picturesque covered bridges are becoming rare, but Lancaster County still has many very fine ones. These bridges, quaint reminders of the past, are still in daily use. They are well preserved, painted, and kept in good repair. You will find them on the side roads, off the main highways. You can obtain a map pinpointing the locations. Pennsylvania Dutch legend has it that a young man may claim a kiss from his girl as they cross through a covered bridge. The plain people use horses and wagons for everyday work, just as their forefathers did. Sometimes dozens of teams and wagons may be seen in motion along the highways. They give the countryside a storybook appearance. While Lancaster County is a treasure house of historic lore, it is also one of the most scenic vacation lands in the nation in every season. You can spend a day, 2 weeks, or a month here and find all sorts of pleasures. Golf, tennis, and swimming are readily available. There's plenty of family fun for young and old. And all of Lancaster helps you enjoy your holiday rest and relaxation. What many people call the Kentucky rifle is really the Lancaster rifle. In order to survive against the Indians and to assure his family an adequate food supply, the Lancaster pioneer needed a gun more accurate than the muskets which were brought from Europe. In the early 18th century, Lancaster gunsmiths began making these famous rifles, using locally produced iron. Craftsmen bored the rifle barrel and tempered the steel to produce a gun with greater range, power, and accuracy than any from the old world. Everything in the Lancaster rifle, the brass ornaments, the curly maple stock, and the barrel, was made by the Lancaster craftsmen. And so from our heritage comes the expression, lock, stock, and barrel. This gun helped defeat the British and open the West. These rare pistols also were made in Lancaster County. Bullet molds, powder horns, black powder, and wooden powder kegs were Lancaster products. Locks and springs were the specialties of some gun makers. But the man who made the gun was no mere mechanic. He combined art with his craft, designing and making the beautiful brass patch boxes. These held the cloth patches that were wrapped around the lead balls which made for accurate shooting. Many of the rifles, with their intricately ornamented brass and silver fittings, are masterpieces of fine craftsmanship. They are proudly displayed in Lancaster museums. Tragedy strikes when a barn burns. But no man must suffer through this alone in Lancaster County. Even as the remains of the fire-ravaged barn are smoldering, neighbors come from miles around to help clear away the debris and make preparation for the raising of a new barn. A barn raising in Lancaster County is the practical application of the belief of its people in the biblical teachings, love thy neighbor and help one another. New timbers are cut and joined in preparation for a new barn, and early on the day appointed for the raising, volunteers start arriving by wagon and buggy. Neighbors and friends, sometimes as many as 200 or 300, bring their hammers, hatchets, saws, and other tools, some of which were used by their fathers and grandfathers. The methods are tried and true. You'll see history made and repeated as you watch a barn being raised. The framework starts rising early in the day. The builders follow a plan, each man in his place. At noon, some farmers hurry home to do chores, returning as soon as they can. As the day winds on, the women folk prepare food for the men. As the barn grows, the men intensify their activity. The barn nears completion in late afternoon, a symbol of unity and love, of unselfish devotion to one's fellow man. By nightfall, the new barn stands where there was none this morning. It is strong and snug against the weather, part of the heritage of Lancaster County. As you leave the barn raising, lovely vistas greet your eye. Nature bows in beauty to make your visit an unforgettable experience. Founded in 1832, during the presidency of Andrew Jackson, the Strasburg Railroad is America's oldest short line railroad. The road to paradise, as the Strasburg is known, is a living page of early Americana, a memorable, nostalgic ride down memory lane. The Strasburg is not a narrow gauge or an amusement park reproduction. Over its 132-year-old right-of-way, roll the authentic, full-size, old wooden coaches and the coal-burning locomotives of the last regularly scheduled standard gauge steam passenger train in the United States. The Strasburg Line has been in business longer than any other railroad company in America, with the one exception of the Baltimore and Ohio. The round trip of this historic train takes you through some of the most beautiful farm country in the world, the quaint and colorful countryside of Lancaster County. It's a great trip, educational, historic, and thrilling. As you steam along in luxurious Victorian splendor on the red plush cushions of a coach built more than 75 years ago, you relive the past in the 60-year-old coach, the Willow Brook. You can bring your camera and ride the special scenic view car that photographers love. Flaming foliage brings new cascades of color in the fall. There's a tang in the air in Lancaster County. In the spring, the small tobacco plants had been taken from the seedbed to the fields, where they have now grown to full size. Now it's fall, the time for tobacco cutting. Then the tobacco stalks are speared on lath, and the lath hung in the sheds for curing. The old and the new in crops and methods are combined in Lancaster County with remarkable results. Lancaster County ranks 13th among all counties of the nation for value of its farm products. Late fall harvest scenes are many along back roads. Soon the frost will be on the pumpkin. Ephrata Cloisters, established in 1732, was one of the few Protestant monasteries built in the New World. Lancaster City is the oldest inland city in the United States. Its heritage is rich in stately old mansions and churches, massive trees and red brick sidewalks. Wheatland, home of President James Buchanan, was built in 1828. It is a national shrine. In the heart of Lancaster City is Old City Hall, dating back to 1795. Many historic sites are within easy walking distance. Tobacco work continues on the farms as the year nears its end. After harvest, the stalks are hung in sheds to cure. In early winter, the farmer strips the tobacco leaves from the stalks, sorts them for quality and size, ties them in bundles, and bales them in much the same way as his forefathers did. The tobacco is then sold to cigar manufacturers. Historic Rock Ford is the beautifully preserved home of General Edward Hand, commander in the Revolutionary War, member of Continental Congress, physician, and public servant. Edward Hand commanded crack rifle units in most of the major battles of the Revolution. Hand was a close associate of George Washington, who appointed him his adjutant general. The brick mansion is of sturdy Georgian style and simple, pleasing design. It is situated 4 miles south of Lancaster's Penn Square, commanding a fine view of the Conestoga River. Rock Ford is a preserved rather than a restored house, where visitors can see and touch the self-same structural elements that existed in the glorious days when this nation was young. Authenticity is Rock Ford's greatest asset. The dining room table is authentically set with Wedgwood queensware, fragments of which were found on the site. Here you see an early 18th century medicine chest and the desk in General Hand's study. Both the medicine chest and the desk are examples of the authenticity which marks the entire mansion and its furnishings. The interior and exteriors of Rock Ford, a true architectural jewel, were almost intact when work to convert the home into a public shrine was begun. Today you can see original floors, stair treads and rails, shutters, doors, paneling, window glass cupboards, and furniture built in one of America's most creative construction periods. Visitors are taken through Rock Ford by guides in period dress. Come and visit the Lancaster County of today. Every season has its special pleasures. Life is rich and beautiful in Lancaster County, whether the sun is shining or snow is falling. The people are friendly and hospitable. They are the salt of the earth. You can see tomorrow on the way from yesterday. You can revel in the delights of looking to America's future as you capture for yourself some of the Lancaster County heritage.